Good morning. Hey, when I was growing up, my mom would read from this book. It's called A View from the Zoo. It's by a guy named Gary Richmond, and Gary Richmond was a guy that worked at the zoo in Los Angeles, and he wrote these short little devotionals, and I thought maybe we could, over the next couple of weeks, just have a morning devotion here on YouTube if you wanted to join in. And I'm just going to be reading a chapter from each for each day, and you can enjoy it hopefully as we go along. So this one's called Ups and Downs, and it's about giraffe. So here we go. It says, God has designed thousands of ways for the animal kingdom to come into existence, but in my estimation, the birth of the baby giraffe is, of all births, the most impressive. See it once and you'll never forget it. The Zoo Health Center was called at 9:30 a.m. and we were informed that the female Angola giraffe was giving birth. If the veterinarian and I wanted to watch, we could. Neither of us had ever witnessed a giraffe birth before, so we headed quickly for the giraffe barn. We parked and walked quietly to a location where about 7 of us were afforded an earthbound view of an elevated event. I sat on a bale of hay next to Jack Bedall, a man considered by most of us to be the greatest animal keeper alive. He was a man of few and well-chosen words, and when I sat down, he only nodded and continued to suck the sweetness from the alfalfa stem he had pulled from the hay bale on which we sat. I noticed the calf's front hooves and head were already visible and dripping with amniotic fluids. I also noticed that the mother was standing up. When is she going to lie down? I said to Jack, who still hadn't said anything. She won't, he answered. But her hindquarters are nearly 10 feet off the ground. That calf might get hurt from the fall, I said. Jack just gave me that look that told me I had probably said something that revealed my ignorance. I wondered why no plans were being made to procure a fireman's net to catch the baby, so I asked, "Listen, Gary," he said, "you can go and try to catch the calf if you want, but remember that its mother has enough strength in her hind legs to kick your head off, which is what she'd do if you got anywhere near that calf. They've killed lions that tried to get their calves." I was able to sit quietly for a while and observe the calf's journey down the birth canal. Its neck and front legs were fully extended and dangling freely 10 feet above the hard ground on which it was soon to fall. It seemed unbelievable to me that in just a few minutes this newborn was going to be introduced to such trauma. 10 feet to the hard ground. It'd taken me 12 years to get up the nerve to jump off a high dive approximately 10 feet high into clear, deep water. This giraffe calf was going to top that during its first 30 minutes of visible existence. The moment we had anticipated was not a disappointment. The calf, a plucky male, hurled forward, falling 10 feet and landing on its back. Within seconds, he rolled to an upright position with his legs tucked under his body. From this position, he considered the world for the first time, shaking some of the last vestiges of birthing fluid from his eyes and ears. The mother giraffe lowered her head long enough to take a quick look. Then she positioned herself so that she was standing directly over her calf. She waited for about a minute and then did the most unreasonable thing. She swung her pendulous leg outward and kicked her baby so that it was sent sprawling head over heels, or hooves in this case. I turned to Jack and exclaimed, "Why'd she do that?" "She wants it to get up, and if it doesn't, she'll do it again." Jack was right. The violent process was repeated again and then again. The struggle to rise was momentous, and as the baby grew tired of trying, the mother would again stimulate its efforts with a hearty kick. Finally, amidst the cheers of the animal care staff, the calf stood for the first time. Wobbly for sure, but it stood. Then we were struck silent when she kicked it off its feet again. Jack's face was the only face not expressing astonishment. She wants it to remember how to get up, he offered. That's why she knocked it down. In the wild, it would need to get up as soon as possible to follow the herd. The mother needs the herd too. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and hunting dogs all would enjoy young giraffes. They'd get it too, if the mother didn't teach her baby to quickly get up and get with it. Jack waved goodbye, and with his alfalfa stem and returned to his section to care for his animals, something he did better than any one I have ever known. I've thought about the birth of that giraffe many times since that spring morning, and have seen it parallel in my own life. There have been many times when it seemed that I had just stood after a trial only to be knocked down by the next. It was God helping me to remember how it was that I got up, urging me always to walk with Him in His shadow under His care. James 1 2 through 3 says, "Count it all joy, my brethren, when you meet various trials, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness." We'll see you tomorrow.